Hi, I'm going to give you a brief introduction to the Sensory Profile 2, which was created by Winnie Dunn, and it's meant for ages birth through 14. And so as far as the materials that you're going to need, you're first off going to need the Sensory Profile User's Manual, and this is very useful and provides information about the purpose, rationale, how you're going to administer the forms, how you're going to score them, and how you're going to interpret them. And it provides a lot of different case studies and shows how to score those case studies. So it's very, very useful. And then you're going to need 5 forms that kind of look like this. I have 3 of them on hand. 2 of them, you have the infant and toddler sensory profile form. And then this one is for children ages 3 to 14. Then you have, conveniently, the shorter version. And finally, you have the school companion form, which is done by a teacher. And the other ones are done by caregivers. So those are all the materials that you're going to need. Hi, my name's Chandany. I'm the occupational therapist here. I understand that you have some concerns about your daughter's performance in school and at home. Today we're going to be doing a sensory profile, and this is going to help us get a little bit more information about how your daughter receives and processes sensory input. And so this is going to help us maybe explain why she's having trouble listening and paying attention in class, and also why she's not giving other children personal space. And so it's going to take 15 to 20 minutes, and you're going to answer the questions yourself. However, if you have questions for me, as far as clarifying any of the terms, I'm free to answer any of your questions, and I can even go through the whole assessment by asking you the questions if you'd like. And so once we interpret the scores, we can come up with an intervention that will support your child's social participation and improve the learning experience in school for her. Specifically, we might modify the environment to make it conducive to how she learns and how she interacts with people. So that being said, do you have any questions? Okay, great. Let's begin. So now I'm going to share a little bit of advice about how to make administering the sensory profile a little bit easier. One good thing to know is how to differentiate the different forms and knowing when to use them. So all of them are pretty much the same. Only thing that makes them different is the age that it's used for and the number of test items. So for example, the short sensory profile is only 34 items, whereas the child sensory profile is 86 items. And then the school companion form, what makes this different is that it has a school factor component. And it's really nice because it lists out the different school factors and what they mean. So when you're scoring and you see, well, maybe in school factor 1, they are performing below the average, you can say that they need more external supports for their learning. Another thing that might be helpful is scoring as you go. This will make it much quicker because you will just go through each section. So the first one is auditory processing, and you just look at the scores up here, or the numbers up here, and then whatever score that you give it, you add it up to get the total raw score. And then do that as you go so that it will be easier to transfer at the end of the assessment. And what's nice about it is that it's color-coded for each category. Makes it much quicker. Also, I think it'll be good to understand the different constructs based off of the Dunn's sensory processing framework. So basically you have the sensory seeking, the low registration, sensory sensitive, and sensory avoiding. And so each of those are determined by the amount of threshold or the amount of the type of response that a person will give when they receive that sensory input. So, if it takes kind of a long time for them to notice, something is there, or if maybe they're very sensitive to that sensory stimuli. And then it also looks at if they, when they respond to that stimulus, if it's active or passive. So if they're passively just sitting back and just allowing it to happen, or actively, seeking that stimulus or actively avoiding that stimulus. And so that's going to be pretty useful when interpreting the scores and explaining it to your client. And so that's it. Thank you.